Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Once again, this is Jeffrey Daniel bringing you beautiful people, another vortex, okay? And for those who don't know, vortex, the VOR is the acronym for voice of reason, and this is my text, as I do endeavor to be the voice of reason, okay? Now, in an effort to pull you all into this aggregation of truth and knowledge, in an attempt to edify your cognitive facilities, okay? And in this climate of fake news and cancel culture, I do endeavor to be the voice of reason, okay? Now, if I disseminate any uncomfortable truths, just remember the truth has no obligation to be comfortable. It just has to be honest. This is the information age, and ignorance is a choice, okay? So choose wisely, choose wisely. Now, on this 12th day of January 2026, according to that Gregorian calendar, I pray you are all doing fine and finding contentment with the good things and the good people that are in your lives. Now, here's my disclaimer. I am not a racist, and anything I say is not meant to be discriminative against any race of people, any individual, or any group of people. I only like to bang on topics and issues that are affecting our existential journey called life that we are all a prisoner of, okay? I don't like to bang on individual people unless you deserve it, all right? So, my quote for today is, love the life you live and live the life you love. If you put nothing into it, you will get nothing out of it. Okay? All right, that's my quote for today. Love the life you live and live the life you love. You only get out of it what you put into it. All right? So make sure you guys are putting the best things into your life. All right? Now, why is social media trying to seduce us into Googling ourselves? You know, whenever they're desperately trying to get you to do something, you better run. You better run. I don't trust it. Now, lately, I've been seeing all this thing. Have you Googled yourself lately? Do it right now. Have you Googled yourself? But why are they pressing us to do that? I think they're trying to gather some type of survey or document our online habits. Or I don't know what it is. I don't know if any of you guys have done that yet, but I'm not falling for that trick. You know, hey, have you Googled yourself? Here, come on and do it. I think there's something behind that, you guys. So just be, as I say, question everything, all right? It doesn't hurt, all right? Better to be safe than sorry, all right? Now, here's something I want to address real quick before I jump into today's main topic, okay? Now, the name of this commentary is called The Modern Day Ice Age. That's deep, you guys. We're living in a modern day ice age, and I'll explain that to you later, okay? But I want to get into this real quick. Why is it so difficult for Africans to enter countries that once colonized them? And the insulting thing about it, the irony is, Africans weren't required to have passports or visas when you brought them into your countries en masse to be slaves. Now, this also goes for some Asian nations and other places, but I'm addressing African countries right now. Did the British, French, Dutch, German, Portuguese, Spanish, or whoever have any entry visas when they came to invade and colonize these African countries? You know, but now they make it so difficult for citizens of their former colonized states to come back and enter. And it seems to be one of the most unfair and racist policies ever established. And I'll tell you guys why. Unless you are an African, you won't believe the hassles and degrading procedures that Africans have to go through trying to obtain visas to enter the US, Europe, and some other countries. Standing in long queues all day, having to provide bank account statements, a plethora of documents to prove their identity, employment, and social status, and the exuberant visa fees they have to pay. And if the visa is declined, this is deep, if the visa is declined after their interview, which the majority of them are, they keep the application fees, and you have a long wait before you can go back and apply for another visa again. And that is just so unfair. That is very unfair that they're doing to Africans. And to make matters worse, now Trump has added Nigeria and other African countries on the visa ban list, as if these innocent citizens have something to do with their country's policies or social unrest. People just getting out of high school or graduating from college, or people just want to take a vacation, or just want to travel to see something, or just want to broaden their horizons or something, you know, This earth belongs to humans. It belongs to everybody. It's humans that created these borderlines and countries and all these things, you know. But let me tell you guys why this whole issue really disturbs me. I'm gonna tell you why it really disturbs me personally. Because in America, and I'm speaking of America, in America, Nigerians are very educated and high achievers in an array of fields to contribute greatly to the American society. Are any of you aware that a Nigerian invented the internet? Are you guys aware of that? It was a Nigerian who invented the internet. His name is Dr. Philip Emeagwali. And for those of you who are struck in disbelief, it earned him the Gordon Bell Prize in 1989. Let me get that straight. It earned him the Gordon Bell Prize in 1989. He developed systems allowing many processors to communicate simultaneously. Please Google it, you guys. Google it for yourself. As I always say, fact check the ish out of me on this one, because this is true. And a lot of you guys don't know this. We know Steve Jobs, we know Bill Gates, we know Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and then so on and so. But we don't know the people who put these things together for them. They don't give them glory. And you know what? This guy owns patents. Google it. His name is Philip Emeagwali. If I'm pronouncing his name right, it's an Igbo name. He's from Nigeria, but he was living in America. He didn't do it in Nigeria, but he was living in America and he developed all this. It started off with the ATM machines, you know, and the first ATM machines used to only be at banks. If you guys are old enough, you remember this. You had to go to your bank to use the ATM and withdraw money. Then it allowed you to go to the supermarket and use your debit card or credit card, and it debited out of your account. That was the beginning of this whole thing. But he started it with one computer talking to another that can talk to another that can talk to another. That is the internet. We're not talking about Google and Yahoo and Gmail, that basic structure of the internet. It's a Nigerian responsible for that. Nigerians are currently the #1 university students in America, with over 60% holding bachelor or higher degrees. Over 60% of them are holding bachelor or higher degrees. And I want you all to Google this whenever you have a free moment. Just Google the smartest family in the world. I didn't say black, I didn't say white, anything. Just Google the smartest family in the world and see what you come up with, okay? All right. Spoiler alert. It's a Nigerian family living in the UK. Check it out. Google it and see for yourself, you guys. I always say, fact check me. They're smartest family in the world. These teenagers and preteens are already in universities and graduating from universities, and are smarter than their math lecturers already, you know, professors or whatever like that. They're the smartest family in the world. You guys could look it up and see for yourselves, all right? All you have to do, don't Google Nigerian, nothing, just Google the smartest family in the world and see what you come up with. I'd say Nigerians are blessed with the brilliance of resilience. I like that. That's a JD original, guys. I say Nigerians are blessed with the brilliance of resilience, all right? So why target them and group Nigeria with other countries of concern? I don't get it. It's totally unfair and unfounded. Nigeria has not attacked America ever. There's no history of Nigerians attacking America. Or is there some hidden pernicious reason to prevent Nigerians from entering America? Now, I know some Nigerians might not agree with me on this, but if you ask me, I say Trump may be doing Nigerians and Africans as a whole the biggest favor in centuries by banning them from looking for greener pastures in America. It just might be forcing them to look more introspectively at their own home country and stay here and help develop it, and finally change the political status quo that's going on here. It's going to take them, and I think it's going to take us collectively, the Nigerians and Black Americans, are blacks wherever we are around the world. I think we need to come together and help fix the problems that are happening, that's plaguing Africa right now, okay? And after all, everything we need is here. Everything we need is here. Everything the Western nations need is also here. So why are they being so unfair? And it's heartbreaking sometimes, because I've seen some people personally that I know have their visas declined, trying to apply for visas just to enter the UK or just to enter America. It's just good, honest people just being treated that way because they're coming from African and some Asian countries too. So it's not exclusively Africa, but you know, I'm speaking of for Africa, okay? So once again, I want to caution us men, okay? Can I talk to my fellow male counterparts real quick? You know, I want to talk to the men right now. Men, please be careful of all these erectile dysfunction medicines, these ED medicines, erectile dysfunction, okay? All these medicines that social media adverts are being inundated with, and all of these penis enlargement, you know, and sex lasts longer concoctions and all this stuff. They're just throwing these stuffs at us, and there's so many different companies and so many different things. Most of these medicines are not regulated by the FDA. They're not approved by the FDA. Not that I really trust the FDA anyway, but if you are experiencing any noticeable sexual performance problem, please contact your urologist and get professional advice. And don't waste your money on these quick fix solutions that may have other adverse effects that will, in the long run, give you some trouble. They may damage your sexual organs and possibly kill you, okay? It's all about blood flow and certain arteries and a healthy lifestyle. That's really the basics of it. That's the base of it, you know? It's about blood flow. And when you're talking about blood pressure and blood flow, because, sorry ladies, you know, and when the blood goes to the penis, that's what keeps it erected. So you have to have a good blood flow. That's the blood staying in there. So, and if you don't have a good blood flow, so if you're taking the wrong medicine and it can mess up your blood flow, what's that going to do to your heart? You get palpitations and stuff like that, and you can have a heart attack. You've heard of some guys on the blue pill that had heart attacks. It's been heard of. So you have to be very careful. Go to your urologist. That's the guy who's the specialist in those areas. Go talk to some doctors, some professional advice, and they can tell you what to do or give you some guidance. And there are some natural things that you can use. You know, they say, what is it? Soursop leaves. You can cut those up and make tea with soursop leaves. There's some moringa tea. There are certain things that are natural that can help with your blood flow and your arteries and open up with ginseng and ginger and garlic and things like that, you know. But I'm not saying just that, you know, but it's a combination of things, okay? So if anything, I'd say these Kegel exercises. Have you guys seen that? The Kegel exercises seems like a good possible solution because it's meant to strengthen your pelvic muscles and help with your erection and stamina. But all of these pills, medicines, and so-called herbal concoctions, please be careful. Just be careful. Temporary solutions can possibly cause permanent damage, all right? So you got to address the root of the problem and not just the symptoms, okay? Those pills just address the symptoms. I'm saying to my fellas, you know, I want you guys to stay around longer and enjoy yourselves while you're here. Okay, all right. Sorry, ladies, if I went in that direction, but you know, ladies, this is good for you too. Ladies, you will benefit from it too, greatly. I hope this conversation is rated PG. All right. Anyway, as I always say, I'm gonna get into the things, you guys, because we have to address things because things are happening so precipitously now. All of this political, geopolitical, and global things that are happening now, and I have to address this because things are happening as we're talking. So I have to get ahead of the game, stay ahead of the wave. Now, as I always say this, you guys, and I mean this. I am not a Trump basher. I don't hate the guy. I might hate some of the things he's doing, but I don't hate Republicans. I don't hate Democrats. I'm not a political gangbanger, okay? I'm not set tripping with this political gangbanging stuff or religious. I don't do that with religion or politics, okay, you guys? So we don't do that, okay? But I can't ignore the blurringly blatant truth that is sitting right in front of our noses. Now, I had warned years ago that if Trump were to ever come back to the office of the presidency, that he would return with a vengeance. And that is exactly what we're witnessing right now, you guys. And you guys are beginning to see it. I said this some years ago. If you were following me, you can go back and look. And for those of you who didn't buy it or can't recognize it, Trump is using Hitler's same playbook. Now, hold on, what do they call you guys? Mega people or whatever like that, or Republicans, even if you're just Republican. I'm not calling Trump Hitler. I'm not saying he's Hitler. I'm not saying he's just like Hitler. I'm saying he's using Hitler's playbook. You can't deny this, okay? He's using the same playbook by dismantling democratic institutions, targeting certain citizens, attacking his political rivals, and now he wants to arrest the Western Hemisphere as Hitler tried to take over all of Europe in his hemisphere. That's what Trump is in the process of doing right now, or he's threatening to do. President Trump, after attacking Venezuela and removing their president, is now putting several countries that are in proximity to the United States on notice to be taken over by the United States by hook or crook, telling Greenland, that he'll do it the easy way if they acquiesce. If they acquiesce, he'll do it the easy way, or the hard way, using military might if they resist. America is now threatening its allies. You guys are seeing it on the news every day. As I tell you, I'm not a news reporter. I'm not here to report the news, but I'm here to give us a clear perspective and a broader view of what's going on, so we can ascertain and evaluate what's going on, and we can get a better, perspective and how to better navigate our lives throughout this stuff that's going on. I still don't understand why they call it Greenland. Every time I see it, it's covered by ice and snow. So why do they even call it Greenland? I guess Europe already had an Iceland, so they couldn't call it Iceland because Europe already has an Iceland, but they call it Greenland. But regardless to the climate or the snow or whatever like that, the temperature, Trump, it's its own sovereign nation, and it already has an alliance with, I think it's Denmark or something like that. And Trump is like, I don't care. We got to take it before China or Russia does. Now, Greenland's been sitting there for millions of years. As far as we know, it's been sitting there for decades. Russia hasn't tried to bum rush it. China hasn't tried to bum rush it. Not saying that they might not be planning to, but I don't know the thinkings of Trump's mind. In a sense, you could almost understand that we want to protect our region, protect our zone, the Americas, South America, North America, Central America, and then the islands that are in proximity to America, Cuba, Haiti, and Jamaica, and those places like that, because those are the closest places like that. But what he's saying about before China or Russia takes it or whatever, why do we always have to position ourselves for war and to be adversaries with these countries? Why not make peace with these countries? Why won't we get along with these countries? You don't even have to be worried about where they are, or what are they a jettison to, or whatever like that. If we just got along with each other, we acted like humans and stopped building more weapons of mass destruction and more deadly weapons and hypersonic missiles and creating better ways to kill more people, why don't we use that energy into us getting along with each other? Wouldn't that make sense? Then you wouldn't have to worry about who your neighbor is. Get along with your neighbor. Hell, you guys can go borrow from your neighbor. Go borrow some sugar from your neighbor. Go borrow his lawnmower, or borrow some nuclear material, or borrow some, you know what I mean? Why are we always so positioned for, we got to be on the ready because, we got to be ready for the attack. Why that? Why posture that? Posture for peace, for a change. That's another JD original. Posture for peace. Why don't we posture for peace and stop posturing for war? Maybe that'll be the solution, okay? Who am I? I'm just a backsliding, body popping, soul train dancing, Shalimar singer, going around the world trying to spread love and make love great again. That's all I'm trying to do, you guys. So who am I in the scheme of things, Anyway, you guys, this revelation has the whole of Europe and allied countries looking dumbfounded by being threatened by their biggest allied country, which threatens the entire NATO alliance, you guys. This is threatening NATO. President Trump wants to arrest all of the Americas and neighboring countries, as Russia had acquisition the Soviet Union with an amalgamation of various Eastern European countries. But that eventually fell apart too, and still having conflicts with its former appendage, Ukraine. till today, you see? So what baffles me, it makes me go, is how do you attack a country on the premise that it's bringing drugs into the United States, but yet you pardoned a convicted known drug dealer? Then you threaten Iran about attacking its citizens who are protesting in their country over in Iran, not saying that they should be attacking and killing their protesters. I don't condone that. But Trump is threatening to go over there and attack Iran because it's attacking its own citizens who are protesting against the government. Yet you deploy ICE agents across America who are killing American citizens. Marinate on that. Marinate on that. You want to go over there to tell them to stop killing their citizens. You want to come to Nigeria to tell the terrorists to stop killing Christians, but yet you're deploying ICE into the streets of America who are killing American citizens? The hypocrisy is just too brazen. The hypocrisy is just too brazen, you guys. I'm not attacking Trump. I'm attacking some of these, for lack of a better word, asinine policies that he's, going after. I don't know you guys. That's why I say we're living in a modern day ice age. It's not like the cold one, but this is an ice age, okay? Now, it's been scientifically agreed that the Earth goes through certain climatic stages over a period of 1,000,000 years. But here we are in the second ice age recorded by humans. The only difference is it's not a climatic ice age. The ice age is a socio-political age created by President Donald J. Trump and his agents from ICE. The funny thing about it is we got two ICEs because you can't spell police without ICE, POLICE. ICE is in police. But now you got the ICE, who are the, what do they call the Immigration Control Agency or whatever they're called, the Immigration Control, what does the E stand for? All these acronyms, I can't even keep up with it. But anyway, that's what the agents of ICE are. They're supposed to be after immigrants, okay? Now, the United States of America is living in an ice age. This is another JD original, you guys. I'm not trying, to be like that. I'm not trying to be, ostentatious or something like that. But I'm coming up with these original things. So when you hear it elsewhere that America is in an ice age, you heard it first from JD. When I said that there could be a second civil war in America, you heard it first from JD. When I say that Trump is playing by Hitler's playbook and Trump is solipsistic, you heard it first from JD, okay? I gotta take credit, where it's due, you guys. That's all I'm saying, all right? Now, it began the moment he deployed the ICE agents in U.S. city streets with an open license to search and find illegal, undocumented persons that are living in America. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there hasn't been a similar type of targeted attack against citizens within the country's border since the Jewish Holocaust in Germany in World War II. I could be wrong, but that's the last one I've heard that has been this, tumultuous. Have any of you ever heard of the 80-year historical loop? Have you guys ever heard of that? It's Strauss and Howe, Howe, Strauss-Howe. It's their trajectory thing that they put together. And it's been reported that historical events have an 80-year loop. And it was exactly 80 years since the Second World War ended in 1945 to 2025. That was exactly an 80-year loop. And they say history repeats itself. That's why we're looking at this Nazi Germany type, Hitler attitude type thing that's going on, and we're moving towards it looks like we're moving towards the Third World War, you guys, if things don't de-escalate. It looks like Russia is now getting more heated, China's getting more heated. Now Trump is turning up his hubris. So we don't know where this is going. We don't know what's going. But the crazy thing about this extraction of unwanted citizens is it doesn't just target one race of people like the Nazis went after only the Jews in their society. This social manhunt has a much broader net, going after multiple races from the Latin, Mexican, African, and Caribbean countries. Now, but here's the irony of this whole unbelievable issue. The American president that has initiated this hunt for undocumented citizens is not only the product of immigrants, but all his wives are also immigrants. In fact, it's reported that Melania Trump, our current First Lady, was staying in the US illegally until they finally sorted out her immigration status. So she was also an illegal immigrant at first. Yet Trump now has no sympathy for hardworking members of our society that pay taxes and contribute greatly to the country. Not all, or even half of immigrants are criminals, as they try to purport, but many have families, they're hard workers, they're living decent lives. They just got into the country illegally trying to start a better life. I'm not saying it's acceptable to live in a country illegally. I'm not trying to say that, but is attacking them and wrestling them up and throwing them into prisons the answer? ICE is attacking not just the individuals, but they're attacking whole communities. It's affecting communities that these people have lived in and assimilated into and become a part of. Okay, yeah, there might be some gangsters or this or that. America has gangsters and drug dealers and this and that. Any society has that. You just can't, peg them and say that, oh, they're illegal immigrants, so they've got to be criminals. And that doesn't fly, okay? Now, look, here's the thing about it, about the ICE agent, this whole thing. If you know where these people work, where they live, where they go to school or worship, then why not just serve them a summons with a deadline to get their immigration status in order, or then they will be deported or possibly arrested? Why treat people so inhumane? What does that got to do with it? Why treat decent law-abiding immigrants like criminals? But what is really bizarre with this whole ICE rampage going on across America is stoking fear and mayhem into the hearts of not only undocumented immigrants, but now into the hearts of US-born citizens. Because of my color, now I can be ran up on and wrestled to the ground until they ascertain my ID. They bum rush first, then ask questions later. So now when they see a person who looks like they may be from a Latin country or may be from a Caribbean country, ICE is now rushing up on everybody. And this is happening to American citizens. There's a couple of reports that American citizens have been arrested and taken in, and then later found out that they are actually an American citizen. So you see, this is why this thing is so dangerous, because how do you distinguish between who is and who isn't? You can't just by looking at the cover of a person. You can't, you see? So it's this whole thing is getting messy. It's getting very messy. While President Trump is busy threatening Iran for violence against his protesters, ICE agents are shooting and killing American citizens who have committed no crime except trying to escape from the ICE agents that no one even wanted there in the first place. You see, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. Right now, it seems if you're not Caucasian American, you qualify to be stopped and harassed on suspicion for your legal ID to prove that you are a legal citizen. And this is where the trouble begins. Let's talk about the Minneapolis murder. It's even sad that we even have to discuss this. It's even sad that we have to talk about this stuff. Addressing the elephant in the room right now, you guys. We all know about the fatal shooting of an American citizen in Minneapolis that has left a motherless child and a wife grieving. But there are a combination of factors involved in that murder of a white American female. There are factors involved, and we're going to get through those, okay? First, I'm being the voice of reason with this, you guys. I'm trying to keep my emotions out of it. I'm trying to keep my sentiments out of this, but it's difficult sometimes. Sometimes it's difficult, okay? First, she was apparently being a Becky or a Karen, okay? Now, for all you white people, I'm not being racist because, after all, my race, we got some niggas in my race, and you all got Beckys and Karens, okay? So I'm just keeping it real, keeping it 1,000, okay? And you guys know what I'm talking about. These Beckys and Karens running up on people going into their own apartment building, running up on people working in places, running up on people in their cars, being a Becky. you know. So, and that's what you guys, that's your propensity, you know. Not all white people, I'm not saying all of you, but you know, you got some Beckys in your race, you know. As us black people, we got some niggas in our race, you know. So, you know, we got to deal with it. We got to deal with it. But anyway, get on with the story. Now, I'm not agreeing that she should have stopped to confront these agents, but that's what Beckys do. That's the difference. Niggers, they tend to mind their own business. They would have kept on stepping. But this lady, she ran up on the ICE agents, you know. So like many other American citizens in many other American cities, ICE agents, let me get this straight, ICE agents harassing people in their community is a very unwelcome sight, you see. So I guess she just pulled over to discourse with them and give them a piece of her mind, as Becky's do. But that's when, according to the videos, and we all saw the videos, one agent attempted to pull her out of the car, and she first backed up the car, and then she proceeded to drive off. And that's when the other ICE agent stepped in front of her car, right? But she turned the wheel. You can see, it's all in the videos, you guys. You can see it in the videos. She turned the wheel to try to drive off, you know, but he was on the left side. But as she drove past him, he commenced the firing. You can see the first firing is just straight here, and the other two firings as she's going past. She's attempting to drive off because they were coming to pull her out of her car, you know. But, you know, he just murdered the woman right there. We all saw the video from various angles and also from the agent's body cam. She was trying to prevent being arrested. The guy walked up on the window and was trying to snatch her out of a car, you know. So anyway, she knew damn well that she was not an undocumented immigrant. She wasn't in that category. So she felt no need to be arrested or harassed by these agents. Plus, you know, us citizens, we're not accustomed to ICE agents anyway. You know, they seem to have a nebulous identity, wearing face masks, and don't appear like any real authority to us civilians anyway. You know, we view ICE agents as something Trump dug up to cause turmoil. So we already have a very uncomfortable and ambiguous relationship with them in the first place. Now, here's the thing. If he is a trained law enforcement officer carrying a deadly firearm, he should know how to recognize a deadly situation. But they claim that he followed his training and did what he was trained to do in such situations. That means that he must have gone through many vigorous simulations where if you're ever confronted by a woman in a car, shoot to kill her. Because that's exactly what he did. Emphatically, with no hesitation. That's exactly what he did. So if that's what his training entailed, then ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're faced with, okay? And now, typically, the federal agents are trying to demonize the deceased woman and assassinate her character as a domestic terrorist. That's what they do. When they make a mistake, they do not own up to it. They don't want to take accountability for their mistakes. So what they do is demonize the victim. This is Federal Agency 101 handbook. They must have that in the handbook. If you ever make a mistake, accidental killing, accidental whatever, demonize the victim. George Floyd, all of them. Even the little kid, Tamir Rice, 12-year-old kid playing with a toy gun in a park. They had to demonize his actions to justify why policemen pointed a gun down at a 12-year-old kid playing with a toy gun in a park where there was no dead bodies around, no wounded people around, no reports of people have being injured. And they responded with deadly force to a 12-year-old kid. But the kid, he pointed the gun at the policeman, or he did. They have to demonize the victim. That's the only way they can get past it. So that's what they're doing, you know, in order to justify murdering her in cold blood, just because she gave them lip service and didn't comply with the orders. Now, once law enforcement agents, these officers, they get a badge and a license to shoot when they deem necessary, many of them lose the ability to de-escalate situations, and they feel their demands are like the word of God, you see? And if you don't comply with their orders, you must be taken down. Regardless of if you've committed a crime or not, just not obeying their orders seems to send them into a killing frenzy. And that's deep. That's very deep. And these are supposed to be trained people. If you look at the long list of non-criminal deaths committed by law enforcement officers against citizens for not obeying orders, I didn't say for committing a crime. I said for not obeying orders. It's mind-boggling. And Trump is trying to tell Iran how to deal with their protesters. He better address the ICE agent guard dogs that he's unleashed on the streets of America, because they are killing citizens now, not illegal immigrants, not insinuating that illegal immigrants should be killed either, but they're killing American citizens. And a woman. Doesn't a man have any type of moral integrity that when he's dealing with a female, shouldn't something click? And I don't know, you guys. You know, I was appalled when I saw ICE agents arresting a young lady just after she received her diploma at her graduation. Still dressed in her cap and gown, they just barged in and arrested her. How dangerous was she to American society? Trying to go behind the counter at a fast food restaurant to arrest employees, or barging into office buildings to apprehend people who are working on their job? Does that fit the profile of criminals and drug dealers? People who are working, people who are graduating, people who are going into churches and being part of the communities. Does that look like criminals? America is experiencing a full-blown ice age. And we will see how long it lasts, because thousands of people are now taken to the streets all across America the previous weekend against ICE agents being deployed in their cities, and against Trump's remaining in office. They want Trump out of office, and they want these ICE agents and these people that he's dumped into these cities. They just want to get rid of this stuff. President Donald Trump is dividing America. He's dividing America and splitting the country in half for the benefit of himself and his circle of wealthy businessmen, trying to create an oligarchy. You know, he better be concerned with how the rest of the world will react to his wanton political debauchery. He should be concerned about that, because the rest of the world is now, they're reforming themselves and they're recalibrating their mindset about America. That's what's happening right now. I had warned years ago that we might be seeing the end of America, or the end of the Western dominance on our planet. You know, once Egyptian was the great empire of the world. Excuse me, I'm getting parched. Once it was Egypt. Once it was Greece. Once it was Rome. Once Britain was, the Britain Empire was the great empire of the world. In my lifetime, in my generation, it's being handed over to America. America is calls itself the superpower, or, you know, whatever. These things, they, I don't say rotate, but they, you know, it moves. It, you know, one power doesn't stay the power indefinitely, you know. So I think it's time for that change. I told you guys there's an 80-year loop. You guys look it up. The Strauss-Howe, that's their thing, talking about this 80-year historical loop that goes on, okay? It's some crazy stuff that's going on, you guys. Check it out, you know. The seat of the President of America, of the United States of America, the seat of the presidency of the United States of America is supposed to be held with the highest standards of exemplary conduct and discernment and integrity. In our generations, the USA is supposed to be a beacon of hope. That's what the USA was supposed to be standing for. And for any of you heartless sons of bitches, for any of you heartless sons of bitches who say that she deserves what she got, okay, let's go with the narrative. Let's go with the narrative real quick. Her name is Renee Nicole Good, okay? That's her name. And they're wearing those buttons at the protest saying, "Be good," you know? So, because Her name is Good. So be like, they want you to be Renee Nicole Good, okay? Her name is Renee Nicole Good. That's her name. After dropping her child off at school, decided to weaponize, let's go with their narrative. We're going with their narrative. After she just dropped her 6-year-old kid off at school, she got in her car and she decided to just weaponize her vehicle and was trying to kill an ICE agent. She just said, you know what? My kid is in class now. Let me go over here and kill an ICE agent. Let's go with the narrative. A mother of 6. But let's roll with it. Is the ICE agent dead? Was he ran over? Was he injured? Is he even scratched? So how is her death commensurate to his deadly use of force? The math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. This guy walks away totally alive, totally unscratched, but yet she's dead. And he feels justified by shooting at her, what was it, 3 or 4 times to ensure that she's dead? How do you justify a trained armed law enforcement agent unaliving an unarmed and unthreatening citizen and a woman? He didn't even care it was a woman. Why not shoot a warning shot into the air? They say he's trained. Why not shoot a warning shot? Or why not aim at the car tires? Or why not shoot, shoot at the motor? He could have shot at the motor. Anything. But to aim the gun directly at the woman, there was only 1 or 2 results that could have come from that. Either killing her or wounding her badly. I don't know, you guys. Are we still human? Have we lost all empathy? Have we lost all sense of, wow. How can you talk about this and say, oh, well, she deserved what she got? I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. Your political party has nothing to do with human empathy, with basic human, you guys, I don't want to get my emotions invested in this. I'm trying to keep myself, I don't know. It had to be an execution on the spot, and that's exactly what it was. And this is what has people angry and marching up and down the streets. What does Trump want to do? Deploy more agents out there to stop the protests, to stop us from showing our outrage to this senseless killing? I don't know, you guys. I don't know. We are outraged and people are angry, not just because it was her, but because it could be one of us next time. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I want to get away from this because I'm starting to get emotional just thinking about this, Why am I emotional thinking about it? I'll share something with you guys. I grew up in Los Angeles, California in the 60s and 70s, growing up as a young man and a teenager. I know what it's like to be driving down the street and have the police pull you over and throw you on the ground and cuff you. I've never been a criminal in my life. I've never in my life been a criminal. But I have been arrested by the police at least 4 times just for minding my business. The last time it happened, I had some members of my group Eclipse with me. It must have been Casper, Skeeter Rabbit, maybe Poppin' Pete, maybe Cooley, and Robot Dan. I can't remember who exactly was with me. I'm in Shalimar. I'm going around the world. I'm a celebrity. I have a Mercedes-Benz. I was living in Laurel Canyon. And I'm driving home from the recording studio. They were practicing at the studio because I was about to take them overseas and do some shows. And Shalimar was working on one of our albums. So the guys who were with me got in my car and were on my way home. Suddenly a police gets behind me and they stop me. I'm like, okay, you guys just be cool. They asked me for my license, registration, everything, blah, 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 blah. It just so happened that that Mercedes-Benz I was leasing through my production company name. I had Dalmatian Production. That's what Eclipse was signed to, and Jermaine Stewart. They were signed to my production company, Dalmatian Productions, okay? I know you guys wouldn't know this. So my car was being leased under Dalmatian Productions. So my name, my actual name wasn't on it. So the police stood me and they put us on the curb and they had me sitting on the curb, handcuffed, with handcuffs behind my back. People are driving by looking like, well, that's Jeffrey Daniel. You know, they couldn't imagine why these young black men are driving in a Mercedes up in Laurel Canyon. That's up in the Hollywood Hills, all right? So they eventually stuffed all of us into the police car, drove us down to the station. While we were handcuffed to a bench, other policemen was walking by going, oh, who's this, Cool in the Gang? Look what we got here. And they were just cracking jokes at us because they just had to know we had to be criminals. You know, look at these young black men. I had my lawyer call. His name was Bob Lieberman. Bob Lieberman said, I want you to look around you. That young man makes more money than all of you put together. If you ever arrest him again, we're going to sue the shit out of you. That's just one. That's just one. But that was the last time I was arrested by the police. For what? Driving home. 3 blocks away from my own home. Pulled over and taken to a police station on suspicion of being black and successful. This is why I can relate to what happened, and I feel somehow of them unjustifiably just aiming a gun and killing this woman as she's driving off. Let's say she was trying to escape from them. Is that a death penalty? This is why I say spread the love and make love great again. That's my motto, and that's what I'm trying to do, okay? I'm gonna let you guys go now. This is Jeffrey Daniel coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria. And I pray for America, the Americas, Venezuela, the islands, the Caribbeans, Africa, Europe, Asia, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Iceland, even though, you know, Greenland, even though it's not green, wherever. I pray for the world. I pray for us all. But there are people who are determined to take us down dark paths. So we just have to pray, keep our you know, focus on positivity. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. Those who are vibrating at that lower vibration, you know, your molecules are not going to ascend to that higher plane because you're consumed with materialism, you're consumed with greed, you're consumed with meism, and you want to obtain what you want in life by any means necessary. You guys are not going to make that ascension. That's why the earth is heating up. We're moving into a hotter day. That's what global climate is, you guys. We can't stop it because what humans are doing to contribute to the CO2, whatever, carbon dioxide, whatever releases in the atmosphere, that's minute to what the earth is naturally doing for ocean outgassing and forests and all this stuff going on, you know. But we're moving into a warmer position. There used to be an ice age, even though Trump's ice age is going on, but we used to be in an ice age and then the ice melted and now we're in a warmer time, you know. This is what the earth goes through, but we're going through the age of Aquarius and the planet is heating up. And what happens when heat molecules begin to move faster? You know, what are we made up of? Molecules, you know, and when molecules move faster, things heat up. And that's when things are going to ascend either to a higher or lower vibration, depending on what frequency your mindset is on. That's why you get your hearts together, guys. You're doing it religiously, esoterically, if you're just doing it whichever way. But we need to come together as humanity and look out for each other, look out for our planet, look out for nature that sustains us. That's what we need to be thinking about. That's why I said, make love great again. If we make love great again, we will all be great. Trump says, make America great again. America first, America only. Yes, be patriotic to your country. I'm not saying don't be that. And yes, try to look out for your country, but look out for the world. Because if we take care of our neighbors, we're taken care of. You know, that's the key. Make love great again. Spread the love. All right? I love you all. I love you all. Jeffrey Daniel, Abuja, Nigeria. Take care, you guys.